flow, new rhymes trap, code word precision. Focus on lyrics, rack lights bleed a cold blue hum. I can taste like tin on the tongue. Fans spin a grey that smells like ozone. Every morning I'm among them. I open the one and I paint and shut. Block any source over any port. That rule is a wall, the colour of static. No packet gets a passport. Then I carve one window in the concrete. Allow hips same port through. So the gate stays black but the glass stays green. And the handshake still gets due. I let DNs whisper past the barrier. Same port, same quiet lane. Resolving names in a violent murmur. So the box still knows it's plain. I clone the adapter, spin a VLAN, hand it a different address. Tag the traffic a separate colour so the subnets never press. I mirror the rules onto the VLAN. Twin walls in a mirrored hall. Then flip DHCP on VLAN 1 and let the pool answer the call. Addresses drip like warm amber leases, each one a numbered breath. The network wakes in a copper cord and hums against the death of a flat design. Now Windows admin center loads at sarvamgimp1.local zone. And before it trusts me, I forge the trust from the domain controller's throne. Set edit computer grabs SIVMVMT and hands it the right to impersonate. Principles I'll auto-delegate to account resource-based. I delegate when I'm quick config cracks the list and I open a click. I can hear until the remote import turns to a lit doorway. The WS man channel made real. I set the gateway variable clean. That hits Earl in a string. Then invoke rest method post to the endpoint. Jet export the RBA thing. Use default credentials. Rides my token. The zipline soft on the desk. Role-based access in a folded archive. Controlled in Kerberos-esque. But the browser screen for the search not trusted. Red like a cut on white. So I sit in the search folder past midnight and build my own overnight. I write the config rec and DN default bits 2048 shack 256 for the digest color V3 rec to elevate. Distinguished name says C is DAST, reads like a home. Drogs Marie and you wet in the L field glowing. Home lab is the O I own. Subject out name points at out names. Wildcard star dot the host. Local host and the short name listed. So no browser plays a ghost. Then open source rec dash new dash new dash new dash new key RSA 2K type. Shack 356 notes so no passphrase. Key out the private right. Days 3560 for a decade of trust after RT in the light. Config point to the wildcard T of key self-signed authority mine by right. I taste the key like cold graphite dust as the pen prints line by line. Then PKC's 12 export fold key and cart to a PFX sealed and fine. Ink in the private, in the public one bundle the server can install. Right click drop it in the machine store. Local machine own it all. Get child that insert Coven. Local machine Maya read the thumbprints braille. EFD5 and the rest of the fingerprint. A sin of warm shellac on the rail. I rerun the admin center installer. Modify paste the print. Now the lock in the bar turns emerald quiet with a certificate glint. Then key PO carries the card to the domain like a rumor through the walls. Compute config public key policies. Trusted route where it falls. Keep update / force to push it instant. No waiting on the clock. Certain.memc to see it. See the trusted publishers hard as rock. Sofas once dined in so a and Puppygen spins and Ed's a key. A curve so tight it sounds like a struck glass elliptic. King quiet and free. CD to var conf rest dined and divide the features.ph. Type server equals dime6.com s colon web I let it be. Hence look up the myfret's name and the address. Prints in amber and grey. A global v6 with a colon one tail that the Fritz box hands away. Let's encrypt aloud in the web server protection. Free grain padlocks bloom in the wildcard starred at the TK domain. Casts a lemon glow in the room. Now the Kemp is a switchboard painting imports. Virtual differs from real. So the outside knocks on a chosen number while the inside keeps its own feel. Basic property set to them heps. Then real servers and a sub VS. Modify add new the true backend IPA web port I address. True NAS answers on 80 plain hep. So I map it behind the TL skim. Change the sub V's to protocol. Let the outer layer usher it in. Sophos self rides 4444. Proxmox glows on 8006. Windows admin sits on 443 while the listener wears 4430 for tricks. Each one a TCP connection. Only pass through, no meddling straight relay. Then it's typed before the address. So the browser won't so grey. Cloudflare, it's the freedom domain. Free plan and it hands me two names. Fame, Randall, and his Cloudflare. Name servers I feed into frames. Back of free norm I paste them in. Then search the name server on repeat. We log in the orange cloud. Wakes up humming a low electric heat. The X certificates are free TRs. A warm coat over the wire. Generate CSR. Sandstar. Dot the domain. Certificate higher. Use my private key in CSR. Copy the RSA from the Kemp's top pane. Save the public pen, the private key. 2 files with a different grain. Upload the pen to the Kemp first always, then add intermediate the ECC chain. SSL acceleration enabled, self-sign shifted right. The loop made plain, and I ping the V6 set IPv6 now to hear the far edge answer bright. A single green pulse from across the ocean confirming the path is lit at night. Now the Fritzbox leaks a privacy address that rotates like a shy chameleon. So on Windows I kill the temporary churn. 4 netch lines a steady E on netch interface IPv6 set privacy state disabled. Active and persistent both, then randomize identifies disabled. Active and persistent, I take that oath. Now the suffix is born from the Mac by EY6 the foe. Eternal and known, a stable global color I can register. I can call my own because link local fee 80 stays home. It never roots past the door, but the global with the ISP prefix is the one the world dials for. I open the Fritzbox highlights network verb ending in at the host. Port Friggaby other application TCP 443 at the post. Ping 6 and firewall for the delegated prefix flicked open like event IPv4 and IPv6 internet access or exposed host. If I'm hell bent under such a high I drop the stealth mode kill net BIOS into Rados drift. So the whack at the bracketed global colon 443 load swift, and the login only takes from the phone or the DC, never from itself. That's the twist. Administrator at local zone, the credential, a bright code click in my wrist. Unify controller goes up on Proxmox, the guide from the Opus blog, then hacks the box on 8443 and the interface cuts the fog. Adopt the access points glowing in the list provisioning amber to green. A controller humming a low navy tone over every switch and machine. Now I stack the metrics like panes of stained glass in Flux and Grafana and more. App get update, install nep G2, pull the influx key to the core. Add the repo with the distrib code name, install influx, start the service warm. Influx to the shell and I create user root with a password. All privileges the form. Create user IO broker, create database IO broker. Grant all on it to the name. Nano the conf and flip off enable true so the door won't open the same. Bind 8086 had to be enabled. Restart and the right stay sweet. Then IO broker in a LXC container. PCT list LX attached complete. Edit shash D config to permit root login. Yes, the Jews are made for the crew. Update and upgrade. Install sudo and curl. The node source setup runs through. Install mode days npm. Install npm global. Reboot to CD to the root code IO broker. Install pipe to bash and the adapters take root and stable to pin the node. Cache clean then IO broker stop npm the J's controller in IO broker start, and it wakes on 8081 and teal dashboard grin. Grafana next app transport hex wick the GPG key to the ring. Echo the enterprise depth to the sources. Update install the whole thing. Sysdectal enable Grafana server start at 3000 port in the dark. Admin over admin the first login, then add influx as a data source spark. And the dashboards bleed emerald sine waves like an almost here is a hum. Each graph a color by taste like cold mint. The whole rack singing one drum. Open what gets a VM of its own. Look at the combined X4 image G. CP it to the images folder. Gun zip it out MB. It's routed with ease. Count root and Tremel 640. Edit the QEMU skies of the disk. QM start the ID pass with Rivite X the config network for the brisk. Send the iPad a 192.168.1782228. Add a wine depi Riga T client interface. A wine firewall zone to gate 4 with D and it's the 1111 and the Fritz plus the Windows resolver 2. Local domain open wide got local custom DNs on the LAN. The loop runs true. Now Greylog is the eye that sees every color, so I raise the whole tribe stack tour. OpenGedge 88 selected by update alternative, so the Java version answers the call. Mongo repo keyed and install bind 127 at 27017. Enable Mongod restart, then grep me active service to prove it's clean. Elastic key with the GPG 7 repo T to the less T cluster name Greylog and auto create index force into the YML. Insist uncomment the network host at localhost to P9200 set enable elastic search restart grep active 3 services humming in a net. Greylog repo deck DPKD then act install the server when the plugin's on top. On the secret ritual mode Shasana T56 on a 16 jar password non-stop. Echo minus on the password new 9 pipe to chase and copy the hash password. Secret set to the raw string root password just did the digest no quote server all crash. None of the server conf blinded the box on 9000 publish index Uri Mac. Docker compose dash version to confirm the orchestrator. Humming a low warm bath. Now Gink's proxy manager, the reverse proxy dual. Mac did Gink's proxy CD and Nano the YAML version 3 services. App on the JC21 image restart unless stop the configure plain text psalm. Ports 80 to 80, 81 to 81, 443 map through 3 doors in a calm environment. DB MySQL host DB port 3306. User root the password sealed the DB name in the palm. Volumes /data to data /let's encrypt to exit let's encrypt so the cert survive. Then DB on the Marriott barrier image root password set database user password to keep it alive. Volumes /data MySQL to varlib MySQL and Docker compose up -d brings it live. Docker PS to watch the 2 whales floating the .246 on 81 the login hive. First mail admin that example change main the past. Then I swap my own and the proxy's mine to drive. And the whole ingress glows a soft mint green. Host names routed where the backends thrive. Then Mailstore climbs on the SQL backstore. An archive vault for the exchange stream. A login on the server, an empty database on a Mailstore the schema, a clean swept beam. The client walks the wizard email server, exchange archiveer, multiple mailboxes gleam. Directory service active, directory domain /account. The base DN users pulled from the domain scene. Permissions email archiveer and write rights to the own archive folder. The mail sealed like amber resin. Give one user full access to another's archive. The whole correspondence held in a queryable prison. And I add the print and document roll drop and document dynasty. The printer server risen. Add a TCP/IP printer by device type. The IP typed in a new driver chosen and driven. HP universal printing PCL6. The printer name for the color laser jet given. A unique share name published Verzeichnis Anzeigen. So the AD directory carries it driven. Ports add a standard TCP port for the IP. Been able to print to pull 2 ports as one ribbon. And from any domain joint machine system Steuerung Gerate and Drucker the shared print is living. Gpop date /force to prove the AD link. A hum of policy pushing forgiven. Now I set down the wrench and I pick up the compiler. The code its own kind of cold blue rhyme. A Java class is a blueprint of braces curly open. The fields and the methods in time. Polyc static void men string bracket args. The entry the runtime will always climb. New is the verb that breeds a class into object outer class. My outer equals new outer class a chime. Then outer class dot inner class. My inner equals my outer dot new inner class. A nest inside the rhyme. System dot out dot print my inner dot y plus my outer dot x. And it prints a 15, 5 and 10 in prime. Because the inner lives inside the outer. You open the shell to reach the seed sublime. Extends the bridge to a superclass. A child that inherits the parents' grammar and grime. And polymorphism paints one name 2 colors. So I switch to C++ for the climb. Include I stream using namespace STD class A public with a disk that says super in a low gray line. Class B : public AD extends of C plus this overridden to say sub. Redefine int main A obj dot disprint super B obj 2 dot disprint sub. The 2 entwine return 0. The program fold shut clean. One method name wearing 2 shapes in design. And the code hum of the color I taste like cold slate. Each semicolon a full stop chime. Each brace a match breath opening and closing. The logic a lat is the runtime a climb. So sinkhole that adds an arm of the whale. Compose the proxy and root the name. Archive the mailer publish the printer. Inherit the class and override the same. Pod 3-fold shut on a greenlit rock where the containers float and the code runs clean. The technicians hymn the language embraces the whole home lab humming a low machine. DNS a quiet lime Docker with blue wish. The proxy a mint and the mail an amber sheen. The printer a warm hum shared through the domain. Decoded cosate lattice serene. And I lean on the console with the fan spun silver. Every command a bar in the ledger seen. The technician was here and the uptime glows. And the whole code chapel keeps it steady green. Part 4 boots on a next line dream. Women riding a 16 gig plane. Apt update and upgrade and have to remove clean. A fresh shoe bond 220 humming in grain. I grab the wetman depth from where badmin. Cut the link it dev when a download won't drain. Apt install Apache 2 and PHP 7.3 PHP GD Slight curl zip XML MB string and magic Marriott beef in the same warm lane. CD media empty downloads. Why get the webmin 1979 all dead DPKG-I2 ordain. This next cloud 2D1:10,000 roots over the password. The panel a pale slate stain. Mungoed buoy to local host, Greylog, Elasticsearch localhost, the whole sensor latched, systemtal status to watch it turn green, curl -I to read the head, nmap -st-o to fingerprint the host, TCP connect, OS guest instead, cat the server log when it soaks in red, and the syslog input listens wide, bind 0.0 port 1514, store full messages, PFS sense piped inside, and every log line flickers a color off a bruised purple, drop a rust red streak, info a pale sea foam, error a siren, the whole feed a language, I can hear it speak. Then the RDP farm rises like acquiring tears, connection broker crowned at the head of the RDP host through server manager, manages rotate the Kerberos thread, deploy the remote desktop role, VM-based desktops pick the broker and the web access node, the virtualization host wants nested guests, so first that lower door has to be showed, catsys module KVM and parameters nested, and it answers a single bright one, echo options KVM and nested one, to the mod probe comes so the child hypervisors run, QM set the vmid CPU host so the guest can taste the real silicon grain, mod probe the module out and back in, ignore MSARS as one to quiet the strain, then round robin on the DNS for the broker, one name spread across two, SQL Express install holding TS farm port 1433 punch through, the native client match to the server version, trusted connection string in the frame, driver SQL native client server, database this farm, the farm answers to one name, and I sit back in the blue black hum with the whole home lab breathing as one, every set of sealed green heartbeat, every rule of war, the package shun, the fan spin a cord, I can see a silver, the logs bleed color I can hear, a technician psalm in a cold rack chapel where the uptime glows crystal clear, so block the one and forge the trust, delegate remote and export, resolve the name and route the prefix, disable the churn, hold the port, stack the metrics, pipe the syslog, nest the guest and crown the broker, self-sign the trust and push the GPO, I run the whole board like a joker, and when the sun comes up on the amber leases, I lean on the rack and exhale, every commander bar in the ledger, every hash the end of a tail, the blue light hums like a struck tuning fork, and I taste the cold copper air, home lab awake in a green gold silence, the technician was here and it's there, part 2 wakes in a fluorescent hum that tastes like cold aluminum foil, the watchguard boots and I spin up the manager on a Windows VM to toil, filed and connect device of the XTM, and the status user reads a pale read-only gray, so I climb to the shell where the real keys live, and I type my way past the sundial of day, configure drops me into the guts of the box, config pound and the prompt turns amber, interface faster than net 012, I pick VO2 like a chosen chamber, enable to wake the port from its sleep type, trusted to a drinks from the inside stream, name my trust the network, a label that glows zip address 21.22.24.1/24, a number gleams, secondary 21.22.24.2, a shadow address right in the same wire. DHCP server started dark 25 to 125, a warm pool east in amber fire, so the derp of a 21.22.24.8 to the client's nowhere to resolve, DHCP server domain zone.zone, and the whole trusted subnet starts to revolve, then right click the node for the policy manager network configuration, the symbol lit till 10.0.1.1 on 8080, on 4.1 double of the wheel made real, and I gig and proof every change in the manager, a green tick humming like a struck brass bell, the firewall breathes in a loose steel color, perimeter tight as a seal clam shell, now NSXT socks with a password I lost, so I hold shifty at the grublet gate, edit the brute line system once passed with recovery row, and I ride it straight, root over VMware 1 with recovery login, set user root password, a fresh code key, then between admin and root I flip with stang, shift underscore for the command tree, stop service so the tunnel wakes up, set service, start on boot so it stays, vim x config permit root living yes, then init.d, restart the blaze, get interface F for to read the MGMT plane, get configuration, get host name, get routes, get managers in a row, set you'll accept it so the box stops nagging, set name server, set NTP server time, dot Google so the clocks all glow, set interface F.8192168178249/24, gateway.1 plane and GMT assigned, when it gets service, what lift the hatch by drop to the network file, hand define, CD, X of the network, vim interfaces, if they set token it's static in a slow gradation, address 249, network, .0 netmark. Broadcast. Broadcast.255 Gateway.1 reboots to admin the config realign. Set name servers.1 NTP time.google again. A metronome the whole mesh can find. IQM import is the QCOW2 into local format QCOW2. The platter spins bright. Nano the Camu comp. SATA to the disk with cache right back. SASCII controller VMware PVSC set right. And the manager plane comes up like a slow sunrise at MGMT. Green dashboard cut clean from the night. Now hat proxy rises the balancer of load, and I taste the request like a splitting of light. Add app repository, the VBA NAP PA app install hat proxy. A fresh service warm service hat proxy start service status hat proxy dash V to read the versions form. Nano etc hat proxy.cfg, and I paint the whole flow in a plain text psalm. Global for the log to dev log. Local group the jail user in group hat proxy daemon calm. Default set mode option uplog don't log null timeouts connect 5000 and client and server long front and front bind star colon 80 stats Yuri slash hat proxy question stats default backend the song backend back balance round robin server sinus fritz box .236 colon 80 check server Scientologinus .235 colon 80 check. Two nodes sharing the load neck and neck. Each check a soft green heartbeat pinging the pair. The traffic split even like a Delta deck, or I build it from source on a unfed host. Install GCC and PC right devil tar and making the mix. Get the hat proxy 207 tar G's to home tar XZV CD the folder target Linux glib the fix make then make install mktar edit hat proxy and varlib hat proxy touch the stats file to seed ln minus is the s bin binary into place cp the hat proxy init to init.dnd chip mode 755 the init system demon reload config hat proxy onto persist user add minus r hat proxy a system user with no login and the balancer joins the list. Then firewall cmv permanent public add service hat port 8181 slash tcp reload the wall. The port snap open in a clean line flash the whole perimeter answering the call and Roxy Y what's a web face for the balancer so git clone the repo to var dev with care pipe reinstall the requirements file jmol plus xd apply for an aq and marty git ssl rewrite in the air down on the tree cp the headset to config system p daemon reloaded dash t to test when the ssl com screams a missing local host cry I remove mod cell strip the cert lines and the syntax comes to rest empty the keys and configs folders happen kp and nig subconfigs nested clean chown apache the whole w tree server name hat proxy fritz box and the panel wakes a soft teal green spice remote viewer for the console at hand vert manager download the windows build installed control alt to release the trap point of the mouse breaks free and the kvm's unwalled and I sit in the perimeters low blue drone every interface named every route in the light the balancer humming around rubbing pulse I can almost see as a rolling white and an SX on its MGMT plane WatchGuard trusted the firewall a wall I can taste like slate part 2 full shot with the port snapped open and the whole edge breathing at a steady rate so configure the interface forge the recovery round robin the load and reload the wall static the network NTP the clock config on and daemon reload it all the edge is a chapel of quiet green ticks where the packets confess and the checks all pass the technician's litany sung to the rack in a language of ports and a choir of glass part 3 opens on a pi hole rising a DNS even an LXC shell PIM update on the Proxmox host app update upgrade install curl as well the sinkhole swallows the addomain's hole a black hole quiet where the tractors fell ttp slash pi got hole slash admin of the .245 the dashboard's ringing its bell pi hole gash a dash p to set the admin key a fresh cold password typed in the dark and the network exhales a cleaner air every query a filtered line green spark now dapper unfurls the containers awake and I lay the repo the proper way to install app transport optics certificates curl now GLSB release in a tray curl minus FSSL the docker GPG pipe to GPG dash DMR out to the keyrooms cravel echo the deb with arcam EM64 sound by that keyring LSB release dash stable T it without fault out get installed docker C the cloud container.io the engine warm and lit flip my state equals 1 and the CT config so the container and container can commit docker run hello world and the well prints a greeting a small blue whoosh that says it's fit then docker compose car minus L the release from GitHub a name dash sin dash M in the path out to us a local bin docker composed mod plus X so the missing big first Roth. file manager to php.ini. Memory limit bump to 1024M. Save on the little disk icon vein. Drop the index.html from var verbal www.html. Download from remote URL the Nextcloud zip. Extract then cut and paste to rain. Change ownership. www data on the tree so Apache can touch every file without strain. MariaDB server. Create new database. A webman using Nextcloud 2021. Localhost host. All permissions to sustain. Boot up and shut down. Apache 2 restart now. Then the installer at index.php waste plain. Editor www.html data db user and name. Nextcloud 21 host localhost colon 330/7 the MariaD chain. And when PHP's too old, IUF we allow 1022 TCP for the upgrade. Attempt door in the perimeters main. Adapt repository on Drake PHP. Install 7.3a to this mode. The old, the end mode, the new update. Alternative set PHP and far. Then Apache restart to remain. The cloud comes up in a soft cornflower glow. My files a warm hum. I can taste like clean rain. Now wire tunnels and an LXCE of Debian. So I edit the 120 conf with care. LXC group devices allow C10:200 RWM mount entry dev net bind create dir on the ton device. The container laid bare with git.i WireGuard pipe to the install bash it and it asked me the shape of the air. Hus name the .6 net port 51820 first client happy 2 DNS servers to share. Schmod plus X run it again for the Galaxy SA. The second peer key the QR in the glare. Then the Fritzbox port free go be other application UDP 51820 in and out the tunnel of violet thread through the snare. And if it's AUX I feed the interface ice to the last 4 v6 blocks. A suffix pulled from the prefix layer. The VPN breathes a low indigo pulse encrypted and quiet. My whole home in the palm anywhere. Docker import container next app dist upgrading up G2 curl software properties app transport hops in a row. Curl the DB and GPG dash dir more the keyring. Echo the dev signed by LSB release C stable T it below app get update flip nested 1 in the CT. Docker run hello world the whale a small blue glow. Install Docker C the Clyde container then emp dir portainer and portainer data a vault the stow. Docker run dash d dash p 9000 to 9000 mount portainer data and the Docker stock portainer image in tow. Docker P's to see it float. Admin over the password at the .121 on 9000. The GUI 1000 the GUI glow. Sustain still enable Docker update restart always the container ID. So it wakes when the host says go and the whole engine hums a whale song. Teal containers moored in the harbor. I can hear is a low cello bow. Dash machine rises for a home page of links. Docker build the clone repo. Tag latest and lit. Docker run name dash machine dash p 5000 to 5000 dash d. The dashboard a warm amber grid to sit. Admin over admin the first door. Then Docker login as myself when the pull won't commit. Docker P's dash a Docker R on the stale name. A tidy harbor every container writ. Edward home force a second sinkhole curl the install pipe the .123 on 3000 it. A filter green quiet over the wire. The ads dissolve to a black hole pit. Now Ansible conducts the whole orchestra. Yum install nano make Apple git Ansible in a breath think dir Kubernetes nano host masters and workers by IP and user and inventory beneath. It's Ansible host for more group var servers. Ansible dash and ping servers to test the meshes teeth on every node. Yum open server system to start and enable SSV permit root login yes on the sheath. Keygen on the master end to end to the id r save warning. Underneath kept the pub piped over to each worker mistake workers by it and user and inventory beneath. If it's Ansible host for more group var servers. Ansible dash and ping servers to test the meshes teeth on every node. Yum open server system to start and enable the permit root logging yes on the sheath. Keygen on the master end to end to the id or save warning. Underneath cap the pub piped over each worker rank dir. Append authorized keys the trusted woven wreaths. Copy it slick clean then nano users .yml a playbook to bequeath. Host workers and masters become yes. Task create the cube user append create don't bin bash for the heath. Line and file the sudo or cube all no password all validate with the sudo dash cf no password to unsheath. Authorize key with file the pub then Ansible playbook dash I host users yml the play recap printed in a gray green wreath. Some okay some changed some unreachable red. The cluster half woke in the config underneath. Plex for the media CD media downloads won't get the Plex media server deb dpkg dash I to install. Stem to status Plex media server add the Plex repo to sources app key the Plex sign key on the wall. The .128 on 32400/web and the library glows a warm cinema gold hall. Posters bloom in a low projector hum. A color I taste like buttered light at nightfall. Then PostgreSQL apt install PostgreSQL sudo dash u Postgres PSQL the shell code in AVC. Alter user Postgres password /q to quit. PSQL dash u Postgres dash h localhost /alt to C. The Mac tool is active, is enabled status. The service a steady green key. Curl the pgadmin pub to app key. Echo the pgadmin for dev with LSB. Release apt update. Install pgadmin for free. Set up web ship for the Apache face. Localhost /pgadmin for the web mode. Its own instance to be. Create database top. Create user top with created B login. Encrypted password. /do grant all to the decree. Create database CB. Drop database CB. The table's born and buried in a slate gray spree. In the data hums a low relational chord. Rows in the columns have bees in a tree. So cloud the files and tunnel the peer. Container the whale and sync all the ad. Inventory the nodes and key in the trust. Playbook the cluster the media clad. Alter the Postgres and grant the database part 4 forward shut on a home lab glad. Every service a color, every daemon a note. The whole rack singing what the archive had. The technician was here in the cornflower glow. The VP and indigo the plex gold clad. And the uptime holds like a held long breath. And the cold green chapel was never so rad. Part 5 ignites on a Macotech router. See a car router respond from the zip. Get the car 647 image unzip it. MV it to McQuisic.mg on the drip. Chem will im info to read the geometry. Chem will im resize plus 10G to widen the grip. QM import it's 139 to local. The VM born and a putty in for the copy paste trip. System reset configuration no defaults. Yes skip backup. Yes a factory clean slate to equip /interface bridge add name local. Bridge port add ether2 to local. One port bound to the ship /ip address add 88.1/24 on local. Ip root add gateway 1231 the default to lit whip /ip DHCP server setup for the inside pool /add DHCP client add ether1 for the ISP public SIP /ping google.com and the reply prints green heartbeat crossing the far edges lip /interface people client add ether1 the einwall user repass add default root yes use PAD ends yes the dial up whip /user add name root group full then the firewall filter chain input a wall in a strict accept established related drop invalid code accept ISEMP on ether1 so the pings conflict accept TCP 829 for Winbox accept TCP 22 for extra everything else the rest let slip /ip service set shift address 178.0/24 port 2200 strong crypto yes for a tighter zip then starknet Audi for one action masquerade so the local gray address is where the public IP like a tailored clip snap protocol TCP port 443 in ether1 did to just snap to the inside host a redirect like a taste like a copper drip wireless security profile Wi-Fi 2P Skynamic keys the pre-shared secret then double and one app bridge SID lit the radio's grip bridge port add double and one to local when the whole router hums a low ochre tone every router firm hand clip. Now Suricata watches the eye that reads packets add app repository always Suricata stable install -v to confirm git clone the gist mod plus X the setup Suricata update run it in the rule engine wakes up firm Suri ingest pcap the vet to bot capture malware samples pulled with the password infected quarantined in a term Suricata update to pull the fresh signatures in a sense of taste each flow for the shape of a worm alerts flare a booze red when the pattern matches a color I hear is a struck alarm squirm the INES of nose in the dark of the wire sniffing the traffic for the scent and the germ then PS sense where Suricata 2 package manager available install the sense ET open the free rules that's no community Talo certified the custom emerging rules URL dense update enable 1D remove block toast 1H interfaces of the LAN and 1 the guard 8 tense enable the rules that select all the LAN category save then the play button green the engine commence an ID style crowns it with the CentOS face a web UI over the sensor a dashboard immense a DNS manager entry point in the name the alerts laid out in a grid I can read in a glance in past tense now Zabbix rises the monitor of all 5.4 and Ubuntu Postgres and Apache below the agents report every load and temperature a heartbeat feed in a low amber glow. Lodge into the front end, the graphs on spool, CPU and memory in a rolling flow. Each metric a color, I taste like cool metal. The whole estate watched from a single window. Then 3CX answers the voice of the rack. It's 5001, it's 5000 planes. Zip on 5060, the tunnel 5090. The port's a switchboard humming a dial tone refrain. And on a Raspberry Pi it lands even smaller. Pios 32-bit flash to static IP in the network. network's lane. Get the D10 PyZip pseudo bash it, choose 3CX final, configure via web, the license mailed to sustain. Extension lengthy internal reach, extensions add a QR scan to a softphone's brain. Phones add, pick the extension and model, plug the handset and the ring blooms. A bell bright grain, a voice path lit in a warm gold pulse. The calls a color I can almost hear as rain. The netbook's files the whole estate in order. IPM and racks in a source of truth store. And to see the guest tip from outside, I flip Cameo agent on in the VM's options core app. Get install Cameo guest agent inside, and the address prints in the Proxmox key once more. Or I button if config in a console. Net tools installed when the old commands no more. Every subnet documented, every device a row. The whole inventory a ledger I adore. Part 5 folds shut on the watch right at home. The IDS and nose and the monitor a floor. So bridge the router and masquerade the source. DS nap the redirect, bepo the line, ingest the PCAP and update the rules. Play the sensor, the alerts a red sign. 5-4 the monitor a 5000, the voice static, the pi and QR, the design net box, the truth and Cameo agent, the ear part 5 a chapel of watches benign. The router an ochre, the IDS a red siren, the monitor amber, the voice path a shine. The technician was here in the humming grey rack, and the whole watch the state holds its uptime in line. Part 6 armors the edge, a Sophos XG spawn in a Proxmox lab from a KVM appliance. QM import this the primary and auxiliary true how to the local boot orders set in reliance. Admin over admin at 172.16.16.16:444 for the console's first alliance. A fresh admin password, the serial key for several nodes. The license auto renewed in compliance. Then the UTM's web protection paints the browsing in filtered light. Allowed networks the profiles reliance. URL filtering only on the hex tab, so no caser. Decrypt is needed. The lighter surveillance policies with a blacklist default action. A whitelist block, a warm page Sophos throws when a site breaks the alliance. Exception list to free a target domain from the rules. URL filter and SSL scan a required appliance. Application control trump in the web filters. Mercer streaming bypass to the audio videos defiance. And the whole gateway hums a low still filtered grey. Every request weighed in a quiet compliance. Now the DSL dials in PP PoE line MTU1492 put the ISP's decree. Gateway disabled on the interface. The external default with the only door to be free. The PPPP log scrolls a pack. Auth authentication succeeded. The peer authorized by the key. IPv6 confract can confract trade link local addresses feet 80 to feet 80 a v6 handshake at C. IPv6 enable for the ISP and WAN, so the tunnel 1 protocol reject the plea. Speed out 40 speed and 100 the line lit amber, the packets flowing free. But the connections DS light no public v4, so the Fritz box hides behind the carrier grade NAT. IPv4 outbound only a one-way street, many Angela sharing one address flat. So up I climb to v6 to be reached from outside. Google the DNS key with a user and pass and a system device access local service ACL pin 6 for the WAN zone. The door ajar like that. Yeah, do your DNS with an update URL host and password and IP4 and IP6 in the query. The record kept pat and I shifted the PFS sense. -D to drop the packet filters leash. Re-enabled on reboot a manual combat port shifted to 8080 at custom v6 down DNS and PFS sense. The Fritz box forwarding a tech deck to the CG NATs caveat and then I slide a PF sense between the router and the clients. It's DHCP the one that answers the call. The router's range matched to the firewalls. The WAN gateway pointed at the router, the line behind the wall. So any device that leases after leans on the PF sense for gateway and DNS no massive. The router scroll rules for the DN is between one and line and internet. The open work line readdressed in the PF sense thrall. And dying v6 keeps the name alive. The API update host name and token and IPv6 prefix a heartbeat crawl.